Well, hello, my friends. My name is Terry Petrovic, and for the past 26 years, I've been teaching, coaching, and training people how to start businesses from home. I absolutely love being an entrepreneur. I love every aspect of it. I love the personal growth. I love how it has helped me to become better and better. And I've known a young man for quite some time, and of all the coaches and mentors that I've had, this guy has been one of the best. Why? Well, part of it is his heart. Probably part of it is his skills. He's been in the world of human and personal development and support and coaching and sales for, I don't know, since Moby Dick was a minnow, I think. I'm talking about Mr. Bill Davis. Thank you so much for being here, man. You're amazing. I love you. And I know that you've literally impacted and coached thousands of people. I know over 1,000 people in your 100 Days to Abundance program. But thanks so much for taking some time and being with me today, man.
Well, Terry, it's a real pleasure. And I was flattered when you called me young. That's the one thing I'm not anymore.
Well, Bill, you know, we got some interesting times right now.
That's true.
Let's talk a little bit about 30,000 foot view before we jump into making sure that we're active and productive during this time. What advice can you give somebody who maybe is a small business owner on how to get grounded, if you will, during this time?
Well, that's a good question, Terry. And being grounded, I think, is an important part of this. I think that the thing that's best to do is to get clear about the business generating activities in your business. And once you're clear about what those activities are, which are probably a relatively small percent of the total number of activities in the business, then you want to focus on how do I accomplish that particular activity in a highly effective way today. And when I say today, given whatever the conditions are right now, those conditions are being driven by COVID-19. But if you can focus on attempting to get those business generating activities accomplished, you'll have your best opportunity of working through this challenge with the greatest success.
And those activities, for the most part, should probably be the same activities that we've always done. So it's a matter of pivoting and adjusting. Is that right?
Well, that's exactly right. I'd venture to say that we aren't always clear what the real business generating activities are. But because we have so much time and so many ways to go about doing what we're doing, we probably either one or two things. We don't get enough of it done, but because business is not constricted, we might barely get by, or we may find we're just getting enough of it done. But in the current conditions, it's going to be critical to know what those business generating activities are and to make sure that they get accomplished.
Yeah. What are you hearing from some of your clients in terms of coaching them, what their biggest blocks or frustrations are now, Bill?
Well, their biggest blocks are really just they're not in the habit of doing business remotely via video conference, via telephone. And many of them are really not used to doing business from home exclusively. And so they're working through what they have to do is work through that adjustment. The second thing is that if they're not out, they think of that as relaxation time or relief time. And so they're struggling with being as productive or spending as much time focused on being productive as they're used to.
Right, right. Let's talk a little bit about those activities that people need to do just from a basic networking standpoint, and maybe you can provide some clarity on what you believe are the activities that are going to help people move the needle the most in terms of growing their business that pretty much are a common thread through all businesses. You want to share a little bit about that?
Yeah, so for small businesses, I'm going to say there are two elements: connectivity and visibility. And so let me explain what I mean by that. By connectivity, most of the people that we do business with, we've been connected with them, known them for some period of time, because most of the business of small business owners comes via word of mouth. Okay. So the challenge is to stay connected with everyone in our market that we're currently connected to, and then to expand that to increase the amount of connectivity. That's the same thing as visibility. It's out of sight, out of mind. As much as we don't like that, that is really a pretty accurate phenomenon. And so during this time, it is easy for you to be out of someone's mind. And so that connectivity, reaching out to them, et cetera, is what's going to be key. So I say it's two things: visibility, connectivity. They are so tightly interrelated. You could pick one of them and just work through, how do I achieve that? And you would have your best avenue to success.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I think at the end of the day, it all comes down to the relationships that we have. This past weekend, I spent Saturday and Sunday investing in myself, going through a social media marketing boot camp. And there was one strategy that they talked about there to get people just being there for people. And that is on Facebook, certainly, to recognize people on their birthdays. But the tip was, don't reach out to people on their birthday, but reach out to them a day or two after their birthday, and just to check in with them, popping up on their radar, creating that conversation, letting them know that we are there. And that's just a small part of visibility. And I think it's almost like recallability, making sure that we are on the forefront of people's minds and making sure that people know that we're there for them. And now more than ever, I think we need to bring down the walls and the guards of the old rules and just support each other and think differently. So let's talk a little bit about productivity, Bill. What kind of insights do you have in terms of how can people be more productive during this time?
Yeah, I think the key to productivity now is first getting an understanding of how productive we really are. So let's say that in normal conditions, I'm active in business 8 hours. We'll just use that number. It's usually more than that. But, in that 8 or 10 hours, there are only a fraction of those hours that are really productive. And so my thinking is, let's say it's 3 hours. Then what I want to do is construct my day now to have 3 or 4 productive hours. I shouldn't try to do a 10-hour day, because a lot of that time is spent doing things that aren't that productive. And now, given all of the changing conditions, it's going to take a lot of concentration. If you can have as much productivity as you have previously had, that's the first step. The second thing, though, is once you figure out how to, let's say, capture and be effective in those 3 hours, that creates the opportunity to add a 4th productive hour, a 5th productive hour, etc., so that we come out of this current situation geometrically more productive than we were before it started.
Mm. What kind of, I'm guessing tracking would be important in that scenario. What kind of tracking, or how do we move that needle a little bit?
Yeah, so I think tracking is important. Here's the other thing that I think is the bonus. In an environment that is um, so strong in terms of social media and posting things, which is, I'm going to say, one way, I think the opportunity is to increase the kinds of connections that are two way. In other words, more phone calls, more video chats, more video meetings, etc. And what I would do is I would track how many people I'm actually connecting with a day. Now, here's the interesting thing. Relationship, as I've shared it with people over a number of years, is a relationship is a function of two things: recency and frequency.
Mm.
When was the last time you connected with me, and how often do you connect with me? That connection, that recency and frequency, does not have to be about business. Because remember, you're trying to get top of mind. If I talk to you, you know what business I'm in. I don't need to just focus on that. I need to focus on reaching out, creating the connection. And if I do it and you think about recency and frequency, then if you need the services of a business coach, there's a good chance you're going to think of me.
Mm.
And then that's really the time to have the business conversation.
Yeah, I think, one of the things that's so important is following up with people and maintaining those relationships and those conversations. And a lot of times, I know for myself this morning, I took two people that had basically told me, though, they weren't interested because their world of business changed so much in the last month in terms of what they were trying to do to create exposures. They're now interested in my world. It's producing video to add value to their potential clients. They're now open to it. So a lot of it, though, is, and you probably have the stat on the top of your mind, but isn't it something like the average person needs to hear no like 5 or 7 times before they get to a positive, and most people drop the ball off after the first and second no?
Yeah, in fact, the statistic, as I understand it, is it takes 7 contacts or 7 occurrences for someone to finally say yes. And then there's another interesting set of statistics that basically says that 80% of all sales are made on the 5th through 12th contact.
Wow.
Yes. And so that ties right back to the point I was making earlier about relationship and that being a function of recency and frequency.
Yeah.
And I want to share a story. It's similar to the one that you shared. An individual I know who is in the business of editing and coaching people through writing their own books. Early on in this challenge, gave me a call. It was 6 or 7 o'clock at night. He and I don't usually have that conversation, but he called and he was just checking up, just checking in. And we talked and we talked and we talked. And I am a staunch, I'm never going to write a book person, right? He never said anything about business. And later in the conversation, I find coming out of my mouth, with the time I have, I might just think about writing a book. And of course, if I do, I'm going to have you help me. So this again points to staying connected, getting connected doesn't mean that every conversation that you have to initiate about your business. People know you, you're connected with them. They'll come around to it if the time is right for them. The
Yeah.
key is for you to be connected to them when the time is right for them.
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of small business owners have made the mistake, myself included, of having commission breath or profitability rather than focus all on ourselves. And it's not about us, it's about the other person. And they get started for their reasons in their time, not ours.
That's
So
exactly right.
I love your advice about, recency and frequency. And it's almost like you want to stay top of mind, which you'd mentioned. So I think that's just beautiful advice. Thanks for sharing that. So what kind of advice, Bill, can you give folks right now that would help them the most, you think?
I really think that as challenging as it can be, this is a real opportunity for small businesses. And I think the way to approach it is to take it as an opportunity, all the things that we've been doing in our business that we can't do now, take that as an opportunity. We don't have to try to stop the momentum of the status quo, the way we did business yesterday, the way we do it today. It creates the opportunity to actually try different things and new things. And so I think the opportunity that is so great is that we don't have to fight against the momentum of how we have always done it. And for most of us, we know that how we've always done it hasn't produced the results that we want. But it is really challenging to stop the momentum of how things are. This current challenge stops all of that momentum. And so we get to we can initiate new things, and we don't have to worry about bumping into the way we always did it, because the challenges of today won't allow us to do things that way.
Right. Yeah, it makes total sense. So let me ask you this question, Bill. I know you've been coaching people for a long time. Are you available for coaching small business owners now and how to navigate through this process?
I sure am. And I think you just shared my contact information. I'd be more than happy to have a discussion with anyone that is really committed to moving forward no matter what. And I will promise them that out of that conversation, they'll get value. And if we decide to move forward in a coaching engagement, that'd be fine. If we don't, they're still going to be more than a step ahead.
Yeah, one of the things I will say about you, Bill, is you've got a wealth of experience. So smart. I admire you so much, and I know that you have the ability to look at things from way above, but down in the trenches as well. So, my friend, if you're watching this and you have a business and you have some frustrations or struggles, I think now more than ever, you need to have somebody that can provide some clarity, help you be accountable, create that vision. And I really can't think of anybody better than Bill Davis to help you with that. So my encouragement would be to reach out to Bill. He's a great guy. I don't care what everybody says about him. He's really a good guy. He's passionate. He loves small business. He knows what he's talking about. He's certified, bona fide, and got the experience on so many levels that we would ever even imagine. So reach out to Bill. Great guy. His contact information is down below. And if I can be of service to you in any way with video or marketing or branding or anything like that, certainly reach out to me. Bill, I want to say thank you so much for spending a few minutes with us today, man. I think you're awesome. And I want you to know that you got a whole bunch of fans out there, but I just want to say thank you for being that light and that glimmer of hope that so many people need right now.
Well, Terry, I really appreciate it. Be well.
All right. Okay, my friend, that's it for today. Remember this, you have a choice, make it a better than terrific day and a prosperous one because you, yes, you absolutely deserve it. Until next time, bye-bye for now.